The 17 News at Noon podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Noon podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Well, good day. I'm Elena Rusk. Now to our 17 homicide tracker. A suspect under arrest for a deadly shooting in Rosamond last week. The Kern County Sheriff's Office says it happened Friday, November 11th, just after 6 a.m. on Sierra Highway south of Hillcrest Avenue. Deputies say the victim died at the scene. He's been identified as 37-year-old Kevin Ramirez. The Kern County Sheriff's Office then arrested their suspect on Monday in Acton in Los Angeles County near the Antelope Valley. She's been named as 28-year-old Gabriela Isabel Martinez, and she's been transported back to the Kern County Jail. She's due in court on a murder charge this afternoon. By our count, this is the 90th homicide in Kern County so far this year. Republicans in the House of Representatives unofficially chose Bakersfield Congressman Kevin McCarthy as their next speaker yesterday by a vote of 188 to 31. McCarthy's nomination over Freedom Caucus member Andy Biggs is an important step in his long quest for House Speaker, but it's by far not his last. McCarthy will need the support of 218 members to get the role as the new Congress convenes in January. That means over the next several weeks, he'll need to find a way to win over about 30 skeptics, depending on the size of a Republican majority after the election results become official.
Kevin McCarthy couldn't get 218 votes. He couldn't get 200 votes. He couldn't get 190 votes today. So to believe that Kevin McCarthy is going to be Speaker, you have to believe he's going to get votes in the next 6 weeks that he couldn't get in the last 6 years.
All right, Matt Gaetz there. Now, yesterday's vote comes amid a rift in the conservative House Freedom Caucus, with some members vowing to vote against McCarthy, others, such as Georgia Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, giving McCarthy the nod. In order to get their vote, the Freedom Caucus is asking McCarthy to commit to some of their demands, such as making it easier to oust the Speaker. All right, well, the Kern County Elections Office released some updated election results yesterday. Let's take a look at where some of our biggest races stand, starting with the 22nd Congressional District. It's one of just several House races that are still too close to call. Hanford Republican Congressman David Valadeo leading with 52% of the vote now, Assemblyman Rudy Salas trailing at 48%. Eyes across the country on this race because, again, it is part of the Republican majority that they need in the House, and it could give McCarthy one of those Speaker votes he needs. Now, in the 16th state Senate race, Republican David Shepard still holding his lead over Democrat incumbent Melissa Hurtado. Shepard has 52% of the vote, Hurtado at 48%. In the race for the 35th Assembly District, Bakersfield Dr. Jasmeet Baines still holding a comfortable lead over Leticia Perez. Baines with 60% of the vote to Perez at 40%. In the race for Kern County's 3rd District Supervisor, less than 700 votes separating these two candidates. Jeff Flores leading at 51% now, Brian Smith at 49%. Now, voters are still nearly split down the middle on Measure K, a 1-cent sales tax increase for unincorporated Kern County. Yes and no votes both at 50% today. The yes votes barely edging out those no's with about 300 more votes. The support for Measure L has widened. The last election update had voters split down the middle with razor-thin difference of just 18 votes, while Measure L now growing that lead with 52% of the vote. A yes vote supports amending the Bakersfield City Charter to remove the requirement that the fire chief and police chief be appointed from within their respective departments. The Wasco City Council has taken another step toward establishing their own police department. The City Council last night hiring Charlie Fivecoat as the city's transitional chief of police. Fivecoat has more than 3 decades of law enforcement experience, which includes time with KCSO and the Shafter Police Department. Last month, Wasco City Council voting to form a city-run police department there. The Kern County Sheriff's Department will remain in Wasco until that transition takes over. And the Bakersfield City Council set to discuss 2 major issues tonight that have plagued the downtown area. On the agenda this Wednesday, a vacant building ordinance and a dumpster enclosure policy. Earlier this year, we saw a large fire break out at yet another historic building in downtown Bakersfield. Neighboring business owners telling 17 News it was common to see transients entering the vacant building and suggested they were the ones who started the fire. Downtown businesses have also been inundated with people vandalizing their dumpsters, sometimes setting them on fire. Councilmember Andre Gonzalez has suggested a dumpster enclosure policy and incentive program for property and business owners.
Hello, this is Tim Callahan with Clinica Sierra Vista, and we're excited to unveil the Community Health Center of the Future, our comprehensive care center. It's located right across the street from Memorial Hospital. We have every service under one roof, from family medicine, OBGYN care, dental services for adults and children, behavioral health, and much more. So find your way to better care at Clinica Sierra Vista this year at our comprehensive care center. Visit our website, clinicasierravista.org, for the latest on this project. We'll see you soon.
A new era in American space exploration now underway. The Artemis 1 SLS rocket launched from Kennedy Space Center overnight, and the next stop, the moon. NBC's Chris Pallone was there.
Well, this launch has been delayed for months, both by technical problems and also by not one but two hurricanes that hit the state of Florida in recent weeks. But now a new phase of American space exploration is underway, with the Artemis 1 mission finally getting off the ground. At this hour, the Orion crew capsule, which sat atop that rocket that went into space early this morning, is now headed towards the moon. It will take about 5 days to get there before it enters the moon's orbit. At one point, that capsule will be about 300,000 miles away from Earth. It will be the deepest into space that a spacecraft designed for humans will actually travel. That is a test run. There are no astronauts on board this Orion capsule. NASA wants to figure out what it will be like in just a couple of years when they put astronauts inside that capsule and send them to orbit the moon. It's a 26-day mission. The Orion crew capsule will return to Earth in December, splashing down just off the coast of San Diego. Some objectives for NASA in running this test: they want to figure out exactly whether that capsule can endure re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere at 5,000 degrees. They also want to figure out what a space flight like this will feel like for the astronauts on board. There are some mannequins on board now that will give them lots of data about radiation and vibrations that astronauts will endure in just a couple of years. It was a spectacular launch here at Kennedy Space Center this morning, happening just before 2 Eastern time. The most powerful rocket ever launched took off, lit up the sky and the ground all around the Florida Space Coast, and shook everything in its path for several minutes. It's been a trying time for NASA, but now the feeling here is relief and excitement that the Artemis 1 mission is finally underway. At Kennedy Space Center, I'm Chris Pallone.
Here at home, you can see twinkling lights in East Bakersfield as tickets are now on sale for Calm's 20th annual Holiday Light Show. This year's event starts on November 26th, and it will run nightly through December 31st, except for Christmas Day, from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. Just like the past 2 years, it will continue to be a drive-through experience. Tickets are $30 per vehicle, and you must buy your tickets in advance online at calmzoo.org or in person at the Calm gift shop. Holiday Lights is Calm's largest fundraiser, and they say every dollar raised stays at the zoo to help improve the facility and their programs. The event has been named one of the top 10 light shows in the Western U.S. by the Los Angeles Times and among the 10 best zoo light shows in the U.S. by USA Today. All right, well, in local business news, Northwest Bakersfield will soon have their own Chick-fil-A. Demolition currently underway at the old Pier 1 store in the Northwest Promenade there on Rosedale Highway. At that site, the new Chick-fil-A will be built with dual drive-through windows. This will be their second location in Bakersfield, which hopes to ease the long lines at the current drive-through at the corner of Stockdale Highway and California Avenue. No word yet on when this Northwest date will be having their grand opening. And Alta Sierra Ski Resort holding a job fair coming up Saturday morning. It's from 8 a.m. to noon at the resort, which you can find about 50 miles northeast of Bakersfield, just west of Wilford Heights. The resort says they're looking for anyone interested in an exciting winter opportunity. The local ski season usually begins in mid to late December and will end by March. And the holidays are going to be a lot brighter for one local nonprofit. Magdalene Hope has made it their mission to end human trafficking. Since 2009, their members have made regular visits to the red light district of Bakersfield, as well as Las Vegas, Tijuana, and of course the Central Coast, to minister to the ladies there on the street. Until now, Magdalene Hope had operated their Street Reach ministry using a 25-year-old van with nearly 300,000 miles on it. And that's why Bolt of Hope and Ted Nicholas of Three-Way Chevrolet surprised the nonprofit yesterday with a brand new 2022 Chevrolet Express passenger van. They hope the purchase will help Magdalene Hope continue their ministry without the concerns of reliable transportation or the burdens of costly repairs. The Bolt of Hope program, which is funded by Bolthouse Properties, provides grants to local organizations who are working to improve the lives of families in underserved parts of Bakersfield.
The 17 News at Noon podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.